Good morning, and welcome to the American Short Story class online. I'm providing a short video to help you navigate D2L and to provide some background about the first assignments in the class. So, obviously, when you first get here, you have the welcome message, which is pretty straightforward. My office hours are by appointment, so you can email me and we can go into a chat, or we can set up a phone call so that we can talk about things. The first place you want to go to is content. And here you'll notice there are several ways of, there's another way of contacting me with the Ask Your Professor forum. And basically, this will send out a notification to me when you ask a question. And it's a good way to contact me because the entire class can come and look at it and we can all benefit from your question. So you might want to start by subscribing. I think in order to subscribe, you need to go to the actual discussion board. And while this is loading, I just want to take this opportunity to say that an online class, if you've not taken one, can go really fast. So the idea is to stay on top of the work, know the deadlines, know what's coming up, and definitely ask questions. There you'll be able to subscribe. I've already subscribed. Ask questions. But yeah, definitely stay on top of the work. It's very hard to catch up once you've fallen behind a little bit in an online class. Okay, so the syllabus. Please do go and download the syllabus. I just put the finishing touches on it this morning. So if you've already gone and looked at it, you might want to go back to look at it. You can definitely download it and save it to your computer. The class you're going to find out is based largely on the way that the short story comes out of Edgar Allan Poe's literary criticism, or at least Edgar Allan Poe was the first to explain the American short story in a way that really made sense. And then, so the class, the next assignment, we're going to be reading Edgar Allan Poe's criticism, a little bit of it, and I'll be giving you another video to contextualize the history and beginning of the American short story. But yeah, this is a literature course. You're going to be asked to read various texts, understand the development of this particular form, the short story, in America, in the United States. And okay, so let's get to the logistics. You'll have some weekly reading quizzes. You'll be posting reading responses twice a week and replying to 2 peers for each one, so 4 peers a week. And then there's going to be a midterm and a final exam. Your first assignment is going to be a plagiarism assignment, so that should be very clear to you. How to avoid plagiarism, it should instruct you about that. Please do read the explanations of the assignments, the explanations of the grading, understanding how to complete the assignments fully, recognizing that you need to have something other than pages. D2L does not accept pages. When you email me, please be considerate and clear. But okay, so the way the class works is I've created a Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday schedule, largely because of Memorial Day being a holiday on Monday. So, and of course, the class starting on Monday. So I've made assignments due on Tuesdays, and the first thing you're going to be doing is the plagiarism assignment and posting a self-introduction. I've asked that you reply to the peers in your self-introduction by Wednesday, and the major reading for the week for the literature will be due on Friday. And I'm asking you to read Poe's criticism and Nathaniel Hawthorne's Young Goodman Brown. So the way that it'll typically work is that you'll post your analysis on the Friday or the Tuesday, and then you'll reply to your peers by the due date. So I gave you an extra day over the weekend to complete the replies. Ideally, your replies should be coming in as quickly as possible so that your peers can go back and read them. And I will go over that assignment more in the next video. But yeah, for now, you should note I did complete the syllabus now and have it all the way through to the end. And, know your responsibilities. It's no excuse, technological excuse for late work. You need to be preparing things early and turning in things early so that you can stay on track. If you need to document a disability, please do so immediately, for extra time on quizzes or extra time on tests, if you are eligible to do that through the college. And note that this is a class that is invested in developing the mission of the college to produce professional competence, to inspire a lifelong learning desire in you. Hopefully you'll love literature a little bit more by the end of this class, and to think about yourself as a global citizen, and to think ethically. The sources I use are largely in the open copyright, but they cannot be reused and resold or any other way. So do be careful with copyright when you are downloading and using the documents that I have in the class. Okay. And actually, the first discussion, lecture or whatever, will be about copyright laws. So it'll all come full circle there. But yeah, this video, I'll probably put it either in overview or in the welcome. So when you first click on content, it's going to take you to, I think, overview. But I found this really cool thing that D2L seems to be doing now. Maybe it was already there and I didn't even notice it, but you can actually look at your course schedule and figure out what assignments are coming up. That way, of course, you could also go to the weeks and find the individual assignments for each week. And like I said, I'm going to put a short video here that I need to update about the history of Romanticism, the history of the short story. But for now, let's just talk about the plagiarism assignment. So basically, I'm going to ask that you turn in all reading responses as MLA formatted documents in the class. And so the first assignment I'm going to ask you to do is a short little essay on plagiarism, and I'm asking you to format it correctly, to not use I, except in the conclusion when you are connecting your essay to real-world implications, but basically adopting an academic tone. The writing that I use is an example. You need to be quoting, citing, and explaining the specific language of the text in every assignment, including the first assignment on plagiarism. So you'll be quoting and explaining Rebecca Moore Howard's definitions of plagiarism, and then using them to explain whether or not the examples in the assignment are plagiarized. And then in your conclusion, you should end by saying what you learned from the assignment. And I've provided some documents here for you to start to format your paper. So the way that you get to the assignments is that you click on the actual assignment, and this will take you into the Dropbox database, the Dropbox interface. And this is good. However, I would ask that instead, the best way to turn in Dropbox assignments is to literally go to the Dropbox. And this has a couple of benefits. One, the Dropbox, gives you the due dates all lined up. You see the assignments all lined up. And whatever documents that I've asked you to use and consult as you create the assignment are going to be in here in a very easy to find format. But more importantly, when you go to submit the assignment to the Dropbox, you'll see how I grade the assignments. And so you'll be able to, once again, read the instructions, and then you'll be able to find the rubric for how I grade the assignments. So I grade based on, how completely you finish the assignment, and to what depth you considered it, how accurately you discussed the sources, and effectively how well you were quoting and explaining the specific language of the text. The grammar and phrasing, was it clear? And then finally the MLA formatting. And all grades are for the short assignments out of 5, the essays out of 100. But yeah, to actually complete the assignment, you will often need to click on the assignment and open it and read the instructions there. And so I'll do that briefly. All right, so once you get here, you are asked to read. What I did was I excerpted this really good article on plagiarism from Rebecca Moore Howard. And note that her last name is Howard. And she defines plagiarism in 3 different ways: cheating, non-attribution, and patch writing. And then she starts to discuss what she calls the academic death penalty, the consequences for plagiarism in the class. It's a very short 2-page excerpt from her article. And the assignment, like I said, is that you're going to write a 6-paragraph essay. And the first paragraph will explain her concepts, and then the next 4 paragraphs will go through each of these 4 examples. And so what you'll note in the example is that the original source is excerpted first, and it'll either contain a citation, like a works cited page citation or not, and then you'll see what the student actually wrote. I'm sorry, yeah, no, it'll always contain a citation, but maybe the student's writing may not contain a citation, which doesn't necessarily make it plagiarism. You have to read Howard's article carefully. But yeah, you're asked in each of these body paragraphs to explain whether or not what the student wrote is plagiarism, is plagiarizing the original text. And so there are 4 examples. So you have an intro, 4 body paragraphs that explain whether or not this is plagiarism and what consequences should ensue. What consequences should the students face for each of these examples, and then finally end with a conclusion that explains what you learned from the assignment, what you learned that was new. I mean, maybe you already knew a lot of the stuff, or maybe something, was new to you and you figured it out through the assignment. But okay, so I also gave you a starter doc, and you'll see these throughout for the assignments. Basically, I've given you an a Microsoft Word starter doc and a PDF because some people don't have Word. Although you can get Word for free from the college, you just have to use your email. But yeah, when you open up the starter doc, basically I've started you off with the MLA formatting. And, you'll want to save the document to your computer so that you can actually manipulate it, and then just follow the instructions. You would go through and provide your header here, and, put your last name, put a space, make the font black. I basically left everything in red that I'm going to ask you to change so that you would, put in your MLA style heading, a title that may or may not need 2 parts, depending on how much information you need to put into it. And then do read through this. I gave you some examples of, things to consider as you're completing the assignment. And then you need to provide the works cited page at the start of the first empty page after your documents, after your essay. So that's it. The only other thing that you need to do this week, at the beginning of this week to get started in the class is, and whenever you click on content, it takes you right back to where you left off, is the self-introduction, which is just really easy. And basically the self-introduction will get you started with, seeing how to post to the discussion board. Note that there's a due date, and very important, whenever an assignment is due, you'll notice that it ends or is locked. That means that May 15th, tomorrow at 11:31, the assignment will be locked. Okay, so that's